we're going to learn how to use the caching extension of Gato GraphQL. Let's say that we have a persistent query that is accessing data. In this case, I have a persistent query called post data that, given the post ID, it will get the title, the date, the content, and the comments for that post. Let's execute it and see what it brings. So I execute the endpoint URL for the persistent query. I need to pass the ID. So let's say ID equals 1. So this is my hello world data. Or I have another post, 1125, and execute. I have this other data. Now I am accessing this via get. This is the URL, and if I put this URL, the endpoint, into my application, I don't need to use the post standard method for getting data. I can use get. So that means that I can also cache it using HTTP caching. And this is what we're going to do. Let's see currently what caching we're getting from calling this endpoint right now. So we go to the developer and we go to the developer tools. And if we refresh this page, the endpoint, we can see that currently we're getting cache control max age x 86,400 seconds. This is 1 day. And let's say that we have here different fields like title and content and comments, and every one of them we are expecting in our application to have a different validity of time that is up to date. So for instance, we're expecting the title to be updated every 1 hour, not more than that, the content every 5 minutes, and the comments every 60 seconds, every 1 minute. And so if the field title or the content or the comments are present in the query, then the cache control that we get back will be different depending on those fields. That's exactly what we're going to do. So in this persistent query, we're going to add a cache control that, depending on what is the field that have been queried, it will give me a different value for the HTTP caching. Let's do that. So the first thing that we have to do is we go to cache control lists and we add a new cache control list. So let's call this cache control for post data. And we want first, let's start with the title from the post. So the idea is that whenever the title is present in the query, we said that it will be 1 hour, so 3,600 seconds. And we publish this cache control, and now we need to create a schema configuration containing that cache control. We call it schema configuration for post data. We scroll down to the cache control block, and here we can select the one that we just created, and we publish. Finally, we go back to our persistent query, and we assign the schema configuration that we just created. So we schema configuration for post data, and we save. So what will happen now is we saw that we have the title, and the title, let's go back to the cache control. This is saying whenever the post title is present in the query, I want the response to be 3,600 seconds. So now if we refresh this endpoint, we call it again, and we check the response, now we can see that the cache control effectively says 3,600 seconds. Now we also said, okay, the content can be updated every 5 minutes, so we should check every 5 minutes. So now we will do that. We will add another block here for the content. We search for the post content or the raw content, and whenever any of these two is present, the max age will be 300 seconds, and we save. Now when we update again the endpoint, we can see that the cache control is now 300 seconds. And finally, we said that if we have comments, the comments can be updated every 1 minute, every 60 seconds. So now let's add another block here, and we say comments, post comments. Here we go. So whenever this field is requested, the response has to be 60 seconds, and we save once again. And now when we update the query, the process the query, we can see that the cache control is now 60 seconds. So now everything is calculated automatically. You provide the query, and depending on the values that you have provided in your cache control list, the HTTP caching will give you the most suitable value to cache the response. Okay, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Thank you.